The stars above Earth looked the same every night.
Oh.
But Dr. Lena Rhodes felt something had changed. Lena was a young scientist who worked at a quiet observatory on a mountaintop. She loved space sight's silence, its beauty, and its mystery. But lately, she felt ... distant, not from her work, but from someone important. Her best friend Amir had moved far away a year ago. He was another scientist, but he now worked at a different space agency across the ocean. They used to talk every day. They used to dream together about exploring new worlds, about helping others, about making Earth a better place. But since Amir left, the calls became less frequent. The texts turned shorter. Lena missed the way they used to laugh. She missed his voice, his ideas, his energy. She often looked at the stars and wondered, does he think of me too? Or am I the only one who feels this space between us? One cold night, while Lena was scanning deep space signals, something unusual appeared on her screen. A strange pattern repeated in pulses. It didn't match any known code or natural signal. Her heart jumped. She adjusted the instruments. The signal grew clearer. It wasn't noise. It was a message, and it wasn't from Earth. Lena stared in shock. This is a distress call, she whispered. She rushed to alert the global space network. Teams from all over the world began decoding the message. Slowly it became clear. It was from a planet far away. A planet called Elor Prime, the beings. They were pleading for help. They said their skies were dying. Their food was running out. They had no ships, no way to leave. They didn't want to conquer or trade. They just wanted to survive. Lena was amazed. For the first time, intelligent life beyond Earth had spoken and they were asking for help. But something else pulled at her heart, something personal. She remembered something Amir once said before he left. If someone out there ever needs us, we'll be the first to respond. That's who we are. That's what humans do. Lena smiled sadly. She felt that same fire now, that need to help, that hope. It reminded her of who she used to be with him. Maybe helping the El Yari could help her find that part of herself again. News spread fast. Some people were afraid. Others were curious. But most were inspired. For the first time in history, Earth was united by something big. Something good. People from every country came forward. Engineers, doctors, scientists, builders. They all asked the same thing. How can we help? Lena was chosen to be part of the first team to respond. As she packed her things, she paused. She took out a photo of her and Amir smiling at the observatory years ago. She didn't know if he would see her again. She didn't know how to reach him, but she hoped. Maybe this mission, this purpose, would reconnect them someday. Not just as scientists, but as friends, as the ship prepared to leave Earth. Lena looked out at the stars once more. Somewhere, far away, a world was waiting. And somewhere, not so far, a friend she missed might be watching too. And in her heart, she knew. Humans don't turn away from pain. Humans answer, always. Lena sat in a glass hall filled with the most powerful leaders, scientists, and thinkers. From Earth, cameras flashed. Screens displayed images of Elyor Prime, the distant alien world, asking for help. Everyone was talking, debating, planning. But inside, Lena felt quiet. She couldn't stop thinking about Amir. It had been months since they last spoke. She had sent him a message when the El Yari signal was confirmed. He hadn't replied. Maybe he was busy. Maybe he didn't care anymore. Or maybe, like her, he didn't know what to say. Even surrounded by hundreds of people, Lena felt alone. Small part of her wished he were here sitting beside her, excited and ready like old times. They had always dreamed of something like this. That was real, and she was walking through it without him. The Council of Earth made a decision. They would respond. The planet needed help, and Earth would answer. Not with warships, not with greed, but with hope. With help, they called it ISA, Human Unity Mission for Interstellar Aid. Engineers from Japan, doctors from Kenya, climate scientists from Norway, builders from Brazil. Everyone came together. No borders, no politics. It's just people working to help someone far away. And Lena was chosen as the mission's science leader. She should have been happy. She should have felt proud, but in her heart something still felt missing. That night, Lena sat alone in her room, staring at a small screen. A blank message box sat open. She typed a few words to Amir. "I'm leaving soon." "We're going." "To Elier? Remember what you said about helping?" "We're doing it now. I wish you were here." She stared at the message, then hit send. No reply came. She sighed. Just then, someone knocked on her door. It was a young engineer named Maya, part of the Humia crew. "We need you in the bay," Maya said with a smile. "Something special's ready." Lena followed her to the massive hangar where their spaceship, the Solace Dawn, stood glowing under lights. But what caught her eye wasn't the ship, it was what was inside. A small garden had been built in the center of the ship, green plants, fresh soil, and even a tiny tree. "It's for the Elyari," Maya said. "So they remember what Earth smells like, what life feels like." Lena walked forward and touched a leaf. It was warm, soft, alive. She smiled for the first time in days. Humans weren't just sending machines, they were sending love, memories, life. This was why she joined the mission. This was why she never gave up. Even if Amir never wrote back, even if they had grown apart, the part of them that believed in something better, it was still alive. Lena stood in front of the ship and whispered to herself, "He believed humans would do the right thing. So do I." Outside, the world watched. Children drew pictures of aliens and stars. Teachers taught students about Elior. Artists painted dreams of two worlds shaking hands. And slowly, Earth changed. People started believing in kindness again, in purpose, in unity, because the message wasn't just from aliens. It was a reminder to humans, you are not alone, you matter, and you can make a difference. As launch day neared, Lena stood with the crew, watching the final checks. She still felt the ache inside her heart, but now there was something stronger beside it, hope. Maybe Amir would reply. Maybe not, but this mission, this act of care, this was her answer. She was reconnecting in a new way with the world, with strangers, and maybe someday with him. And that was enough for now. The stars outside the window of the spaceship, Solace Dawn, looked peaceful, quiet, endless. Lena sat in her small room, reading the last message she had sent to Amir. Still no reply. The journey to Elier Prime had taken months. During that time, the crew trained, studied Elyari biology, and prepared to help. Everyone was busy. Everyone was hopeful, but Lena still felt the same small sadness inside her. It was like a missing piece she couldn't find. She missed her best friend, not just the talks and the laughter, but the way they used to believe in things together. Big things, brave things, she still believed. She hoped he did too. As they neared Elier Prime, the crew gathered near the front viewing deck. The planet slowly appeared, a gray world with thick clouds, weak light, and tired oceans. It looked sick. Captain Reyes stood beside Lena. "You ready?" he asked. Lena nodded slowly. "I've been ready for this all my life." The ship entered orbit and soon landed near the Elyari capital. The city was quiet, made of soft stone and tall, curved towers. There were no flying machines, no lights, just silence and eyes. The Elyari came out in groups. They were tall, thin, with smooth skin that shimmered slightly. Their faces were kind, but tired. Their eyes were wide with worry. Lena stepped out first. A small Elyari stepped forward. He looked older, with silver patterns on his skin. He bowed slightly. "Are you humans?" he asked in a soft voice. Lena smiled. "Yes, we got your message. We came to help." There was a long pause. Then the Elyari dropped to his knees and whispered, "You answered, ... double quotes. Others gasped. A few cried. Some reached out to gently touch the human hands. They had truly not believed anyone would come. Lena knelt beside the elder. "You're not alone anymore." The Elyari led them into their city. Everything was quiet, no music, no laughter, no joy. Their air smelled dry. Their trees were dying. Food was short. The young looked weak. Lena and her team quickly began setting up clean water systems and temporary greenhouses. The Elyari watched in silence, unsure what to say. One small Elyari child came to Lena and asked, "Why are you helping us?" Lena paused. She thought of Amir. She thought of his words. "Someone out there ever needs us, we'll be the first to respond." She knelt and answered, "Because you asked for help. When someone asks, we listen." The child smiled for the first time. Later that night, back on the ship, Lena opened her inbox. Still no reply. She stared out the window at the gray world below. It was broken, but not hopeless. It could heal. Maybe her friendship could too. Maybe some things just needed time. She began recording a video message, not just to Amir, but to everyone on Earth. In the message, she said, "Today we landed on a world that many thought we would ignore. But we didn't, because that's not who we are. Don't run from sadness. We don't hide from need. We answer. We help. And in doing that, we remember who we are." As she ended the message, she whispered softly, "If you're listening, I miss you. I hope we talk again." She didn't say his name, but in her heart she hoped he'd hear it. Outside, the stars kept shining. The planet below slowly began to breathe again, and somewhere, maybe far away or maybe closer than she, thought someone might be listening. The sun over Elier Prime was pale and weak, barely shining through the thick clouds above. The skies looked tired, just like the people. But Lena and the Humia team had work to do. They had set up clean energy stations, air purifying towers, and soil repair machines. Every day more Elyari came to help. Some brought tools, some brought stories, and some just stood nearby, watching humans do what many had believed was impossible. Still, Aina often felt the same ache inside her heart. She smiled and worked. She led meetings and gave orders. But every night, when she returned to her room on the Solace Dawn, she stared at the stars and thought about Amir. No message, no reply, nothing. Sometimes she wondered if he had changed. Maybe the person she missed wasn't the person he was anymore. Other times, she wondered if she had changed. Maybe she had become too quiet, too distant, too focused on work. But deep down, she still hoped. Hope was the one thing she had never let go. One morning, an Elyari engineer named Solon approached her. He was young, curious, and always full of questions. "Dr. Lena," he asked, "why do your people help so much? We are strangers. You owe us nothing." Lena looked at him, thoughtful. "I think it's something deep inside us," she said. "A part of being human. When someone is in pain, we feel it. When someone asks for help, we want to help. Not for reward, just because we can." Solon tilted his head. "It sounds beautiful. But is it always easy?" Lena smiled gently. "No. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you feel far from the people you care about. But helping others reminds you of what really matters." Solon looked at her closely. "Are you far from someone too?" Lena's smile faded a little. "Yes, someone I care about. We were very close once. Now I don't know." The Elyari nodded. "Maybe helping us will help you find them again." Lena didn't answer. But the thought stayed with her. That afternoon, a problem hit the mission. One of the air purifying towers failed. The wind carried thick ash into a small Elyari village. Crops withered. Children began coughing. Panic grew. Lena rushed to the village with her team. People were shouting, confused, afraid. But Lena didn't panic. She organized the crew, fixed the systems, and helped calm the crowd. She spoke softly. She listened. She stayed until every child had clean air again. The next morning, she returned and saw something that made her heart catch. A group of Elyari children had painted a huge mural on one of the buildings. It showed Earth and Elyar with two hands, one human, one Elyari, holding a bright green leaf together. Below it had written in both languages, "Together we grow." Lena touched the wall, tears in her eyes. The Elyari had been afraid, but they trusted again because of her. Because of humanity, that night back on the ship, she sat by the window and opened her messages again. Still nothing, she whispered to herself. Maybe you're not ready, Amir, but I am. I'm still here. She sent a short message, no words. Just a photo of the mural, a simple image of hope. She didn't know if he would see it, but sending it made her feel less alone. Far below, Eliari began planting new seeds in soil that was once dead, and far above, human heart continued reaching for something it had once lost but still believed in, because that's who humans are. They don't give up on people, not on strangers, not on friends, not even when things feel far away. Dark clouds hung low over Elir Prime. The sky rumbled softly, as if it was trying to remember how to rain. Lena stood on the rooftop of the Science Center looking over the city. Life was beginning to return. Trees were growing, small crops had sprouted, and the Eliari walked with a little more energy each day. Still, something felt heavy. The Eliari Council had called an emergency meeting. A few machines had failed again, this time in the eastern valleys. Food production stopped, and the elders feared it meant humans didn't understand their world after all. Lena knew the problems were just technical. They could be fixed, but fear is louder than logic, especially when people have suffered for so long. Some Eliari began whispering. Were humans really here to help? Or were they trying to control everything? Lena had seen this before, fear turning into doubt. Doubt turning into walls. It hurt her heart, but she understood. That evening, she sat alone in the ship garden. The earth plants had grown tall now. Their leaves brushed against her shoulders. The green felt safe, like home. She opened her inbox. Again, still no reply from Amir. She let out a breath and whispered, I wish I knew what you were thinking. I wish I knew if you still cared. Suddenly, a soft knock came at the door. It was Solon, the young Eliari engineer. Dr. Lena, he said gently. The council would like to speak with you now. Lena stood, brushed her coat, and followed. Him, in the council chamber, the Eliari elders sat with quiet faces. Their leader, Elder Thion, stood to speak. Lena, he began, you and your people have done much. Our skies are cleaner, our children are smiling again, but some among us fear your machines may change us too quickly, that your help may cost us more than we can give. Lena looked around the room, so many eyes watching, waiting. She felt the sadness return, the same loneliness she felt when Amir stopped writing, a feeling of drifting apart without knowing why. She stepped forward and spoke slowly. I understand, she said. I've been hurt before. Forgotten. We didn't come here to take over. We came because you asked. She paused. When someone you care about becomes distant, it hurts. You wonder if they've changed. They still see you. I feel that too. She looked down for a moment, then back up. But I believe something strong lives in all of us. It's the wish to be seen, to be known, to help. That's what it means to be human. Silence filled the room. Then Elder Thion said, You speak with truth. That is rare. Let her and her people continue. Not because we must trust, but because we choose to trust. The council nodded. Outside, a soft sound began. Rain, for the first time in decades, real rain fell from the Eliari sky. The soil drank it in, flowers opened, the city glowed with joy. Lena stepped outside and tilted her head upward. Drops kissed her cheeks. She laughed softly. Solon joined her. This rain feels like a new beginning. Lena smiled. It is. That night, she returned to her room and saw something unexpected, a message notification. Her hands trembled as she opened. It asterisked the rain had changed everything. Elir Prime felt different now. The air was softer. The people walked with lighter steps. Laughter returned to the streets like a melody long forgotten. Lena walked through a village, where green vines now crept up buildings. Eliari children chased each other, laughing there. Hands full of petals and fresh leaves. Humans and Eliari worked side by side, planting new crops and repairing old homes. And Lena? She felt lighter too. She had read Amir's message a dozen times. Every word warmed her heart. He still cared. He had just been unsure, just like her. Their silence had finally broken, and in that small, quiet way, they had begun again. Still, she didn't rush to write back. She wanted to find the right words that spoke from the same place as her heart. One afternoon, Elder Thyan and Solon came to visit her at the Earth Garden aboard Solace Dawn. Their faces were calm and serious. "We have something for you," said Thyan, holding a small, round container made of crystal bark. Lena opened it slowly. Inside were several bright silver seeds. They sparkled softly in the light, like stars resting in her hand. "These are Eliari breath seeds," Solon explained.
Wow.
"They clean the air better than anything we know. We've used them sparingly, but they have nearly vanished over the years." Eyes widened. "But these, you're giving them to us?" Elder Thyan nodded. "Yes, you brought life back to our world. Let us offer something to yours." Lena was quiet for a long moment. Then she looked up and said gently, "Thank you. This means everything." She knew Earth still had problems, pollution, drought, division, but these seeds could help. They weren't just gifts, they were signs of trust, signs that healing was meant to be shared. Later that night, Lena stood by the ship's communication hub. She looked up at the stars and finally began typing a message to Amir. "Your words meant more than you know. I wanted to reply sooner, but I needed time to feel them," he once said. "If someone ever needs us, we'll be the first to respond." You were right. I hope these seeds bring you peace. They came from the kindness of strangers who now feel like family. I hope one day you can come here and see it with your own eyes. She attached a photo of Eliari and human children, planting side by side in a glowing field under clear skies. Then she hit send. The next day, as Lena led a workshop on growing earth crops on Eliari soil, a young Eliari girl tugged her sleeve. "Dr. Lena," she asked, "do you ever miss your home?" Lena knelt down beside her. "Yes," she said softly. "I miss it every day." The girl looked confused. "Then why are you still here?" Lena smiled. "'Cause helping others sometimes brings you closer to the people you miss, even if they're far away." The girl nodded, thoughtful. "Maybe." "You made 2 homes now." Lena blinked. That simple truth struck something deep in her. Yes, she had 2 homes now, one on Earth and one here, built from effort, kindness, and trust, and slowly. The distance between hers and Amir's was shrinking. As the sun set that evening, golden light spilled over the new fields, touching both alien and human faces with warmth. The Eliari had called for help. The humans had answered. But now, they were no longer saviors and survivors. They were partners, friends, family. And Lena had learned that even when people feel far away, connection can still grow if you keep planting seeds of hope. Years had passed since Lena first heard the Eliari's cry for help. Now, Eliar. Prime was full of life. The sky was clear blue. Trees danced in the wind. Rivers ran clean again. Humans and Eliari lived together in shared cities. They traded stories, learned from one another, celebrated each small success. And in the middle of it all, Lena stood beneath a tall flowering tree that once would not have survived here. Children laughed nearby. Seeds floated through the air like tiny stars. But Lena's thoughts were far away. She was standing at the launch site for the newest ship. Solace Dawn 2. It was sleeker, faster, and more advanced. And this time it wasn't just humans going. Beside her stood Solon, now an ambassador of Elior. Around them bustled a new crew young. Excited faces, both Eliori and human. A new signal had been received. Another planet. Another call for help. And once again, humanity would answer, but not alone this time. Lena watched as cargo was loaded: tools, water purifiers, food, books, music, even soil, from both worlds. This mission was about more than aid. It was about sharing what made life meaningful. Just as Lena was about to return to the command tent, she heard a voice behind her. "Still walking around like it's your first mission?" She turned quickly and her heart nearly stopped. It was Amir, older, with a few gray hairs now, but smiling in the same quiet way he used to. Lena's eyes filled with tears. "You came. I had to," he said. "You showed me what's possible. You never stopped believing, even when I did." They stood quietly for a moment, the noise of the crew around them fading into the background. "I didn't know how to talk to you back then," he continued. "I felt far away, from the world, from you, from myself. But your messages helped me remember who I was, who we were." Lena nodded. "I understand. I felt the same. But I never gave up." Amir looked up at the ship. "You're not going on this one, are you?" Lena shook her head. "No, it's their turn now. The new generation? I've done my part. I'll stay here, help build the LER Academy and train others." He smiled. "Then maybe I'll stay too." They both laughed gently as the sun rose. The Solace dawned too, prepared for liftoff. People in El Yari gathered around, cheering. The engines hummed softly. The crew waved. Lena and Amir stood side by side, watching it rise into the sky. This time, mission wasn't just about helping a planet in need. It was about continuing what humanity had become: helpers, builders, listeners, and friends. Lena turned to Amir. "I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I found my way back," he said. They didn't need to say much more, because sometimes, when distance has been healed, silence is enough. As the ship disappeared into the stars, Lena thought back to that first message, that small cry in the dark. So much had changed since then. Entire worlds had grown. People had come together. And two old friends had found each other again, in the same place, but in the same purpose. Hope had done that. Humanity had done that. Because no matter how far the distance between planets, between hearts, humans always answered. And when they answered, they did it with everything they had.